Journal Record Editor Ted Streuli joins us to discuss other stories making headlines in business this week. Ted, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
Ted, the drop in oil prices is being felt in the higher education circles. Tell us about that.
Well, it is. There are 13 universities and colleges around the state that get a monthly allocation from the commissioners of the land office based on a portion of mineral rights. Because oil prices have been down so far, that's really hurt that allotment. We know of one school that's off by as much as $18 million over a year ago. So those schools are really looking forward to seeing oil prices climb back up.
Budget cuts could be bad news for state parks. What's going on there?
They could. Well, the legislature's the budget this year cut 5% or about $1 million out of the tourism budget. In addition, they took some hotel motel tax money and reallocated it. They also took money out of the revolving fund. So tourism is down by about $17 million this year. That could lead to further state parks being given over to cities or other cost-saving measures.
The Oklahoma City Council is still considering a proposal to take over operations of the American Indian Cultural Center and Museum. What's the latest there?
Well, Mayor Mick Cornett in Oklahoma City and 3 council people will oversee the due diligence process that City Manager Jim Couch says will be completed within 3 months. Their deadline is until the end of the year, but they expect to have a plan together well before that.
In another story, federal officials are going after sensitive overdraft data. What's the story?
Yeah, they are. It's the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is going to be asking credit unions and banks for information about really overdraft fees. Some banks, the really bad actors, if you will, kind of select the order in which they process the checks in order to maximize overdraft fees. So it's not going to cost the local banks anything, but they're worried about the rules that might ensue.
Now, university researchers in Norman are investigating the effect of gardens on the Lake Thunderbird watershed. What are they looking for?
Well, there's an experimental neighborhood that University of Oklahoma researchers are studying, and they're taking a look at how phosphorus and clay runs out of residential yards and ends up in the drinking water reservoir. So part of the effort could become part of the effort to clarify the water in that lake.
What are you working on for next week?
Oh, you know, Oklahoma City Councilman Ed Shadid is trying to save the Union bus station, which is now vacant and scheduled for demolition. His case will be heard by the court this week, and we'll be there to find out what happens.
Ted Streuli, the editor of the Journal Record, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.